The ending of Dexter Resurrection Episode 9 is not just shocking, it feels like a knife twist in the story we thought we understood. What looked like a moment of closure suddenly turned into a chilling setup for the finale. Every word, every decision in that final scene carries a hidden meaning. And if you missed even a small detail, you didn't see the whole picture. Today, let's break down how this ending changes everything, not just for Dexter, but for everyone around him. Episode 9 takes us on a roller coaster of tension, building a storm around Dexter that's impossible to ignore. From the very start, we see him walking a dangerous line caught between trying to protect Harrison and trying to control the darker side of himself that refuses to die. Harrison, meanwhile, is not just a side character anymore. He's becoming a mirror of Dexter, someone who reflects his father's deepest fears and failures. Every time Harrison questions Dexter, it's like a spotlight on the cracks in Dexter's carefully built mask. Throughout this episode, relationships are tested. Harrison doesn't fully trust his father, and Dexter doesn't fully know how to guide him without revealing too much. Their bond feels like a fragile glass ready to shatter with one wrong move. And in the background, threats are circling old. Enemies, suspicious allies, and the weight of Dexter's past all pressing closer. What makes Episode 9 so intense is not just the danger outside, but the war inside. Dexter's own mind. The episode lays out a trail of tension, every scene hinting that something explosive is coming. A casual conversation carries hidden threats. A quiet stare lingers too long. A small mistake feels like a countdown ticking toward disaster. By the time we get close to the ending, we realize this episode isn't about safety at all, it's about setting the trap for the moment that will leave us shocked, broken, and desperate to know what happens next. The closer we move to the ending of Episode 9, the more the walls start closing in on Dexter. The storytelling takes a sharp turn here, shifting from slow burns to fast-rising pressure. Every decision Dexter makes feels like it's pushing him deeper into a corner, and the audience can sense it even if Dexter himself can't admit it yet. One of the most striking elements of this build-up is the way small details carry heavy weight. A phone call that feels too short, a look that lasts 1 second longer than it should, a silence that feels louder than words. The show doesn't hand us answers directly, it places pieces on the table, daring us to put them together before the final blow lands. The more we notice, the more we realize Dexter is walking into a trap that might be far more personal than he expected. Harrison plays a huge role in this slow build. His questions about morality, about whether killing can ever be justified, are not just words, they're knives aimed straight at Dexter's heart. When Harrison looks at him with doubt, it's more terrifying than any physical threat. The fear of being seen for who he truly is, conversations foreshadow the storm ahead. It's making it clear that the ending will not only test Dexter's survival, but also his identity as a father. Meanwhile, shadows of the past creep closer. Old mistakes resurface. And enemies, whether they are from law enforcement or Dexter's past victims, circles linger, just out of frame. Every ally looks suspicious. Every gesture feels loaded. Even the calm moments feel wrong, like the calm before a violent storm. The pacing of these scenes makes us restless. The tension doesn't explode right away, it simmers, tightening the noose around Dexter's neck with each passing moment. And then, just as we begin to believe Dexter might slip away like he always does, the final minutes arrive. And everything we thought we knew is ripped apart. The ending of Episode 9 doesn't just arrive, it strikes. It feels like everything in the episode has been leading to this one brutal moment, and when it lands, it's impossible to look away. In the final scene, Dexter finds himself face to face with the consequences of every choice he has made up until now. What should have been a controlled situation quickly spirals out of his hands. For the first time in a long while, Dexter is not the hunter, he's the prey. The calm, calculating predator we know is suddenly caught in a web, and the weight of that realization hits both Dexter and the audience at the same time. The visuals and atmosphere make this ending even more chilling. The room feels darker, the silence sharper, every sound magnified. When Dexter realizes he's been outplayed, there's no dramatic music. just a suffocating stillness that makes us feel his panic. This isn't a clean kill. This isn't a perfect plan. It's chaos, and Dexter is drowning in it. But the most shocking part isn't just the danger, it's the betrayal. Someone Dexter thought he could rely on turns out to be the one pulling the strings, forcing him into the exact position he has spent the entire season trying to avoid. The betrayal cuts deeper than a knife, and it leaves Dexter vulnerable in a way we've rarely seen before. Once his mask cracks, and we glimpse the fear underneath, and then there's Harrison. The final moments make it painfully clear that this isn't just Dexter's story anymore. Harrison is caught in the blast radius of his father's darkness. Whether he sees Dexter as a monster, a mentor, or both, the ending ties him directly into the chaos. When the screen cuts, we're left with a gut-wrenching question. Is Harrison going to follow in his father's footsteps, or will he be the one to finally stop him? This ending doesn't give us closure, it rips open more wounds. It's not an answer, it's a question. And it sets the stage for a finale where anything feels possible. Redemption, destruction, or something far worse. The ending of episode 9 doesn't just shock us, breaks the characters inside the story. Each reaction to that final moment tells us how high the stakes have become. And it shows us that no one is safe anymore. Dexter is the first to feel the weight of what just happened. He has always thrived in control, building every move like a chess master who never misses a step. But here, his mask slips. His carefully built confidence cracks. For the first time in this season, we see Dexter not as a predator, but as a man cornered by his own lies. His eyes, his silence, his hesitation, everything screams one thing: fear. And that fear is something Dexter has always avoided showing. Harrison's reaction is even more devastating. The shock on his face isn't just about danger, it's about truth. In that moment, he sees his father differently. It's not as the protector he wanted, not even as the flawed man he was starting to understand, but as someone who might never escape his own darkness. The pain in Harrison's reaction tells us this is more than a physical threat. It's a fracture in their bond, one that could shatter completely in the finale. Other characters, too, are pulled deeper into the storm. Allies who once seemed reliable now look uncertain. Enemies gain the upper hand. The balance of power shifts in a single instant, and every person close to Dexter becomes either a weapon against him or a victim of his downfall. This is not just Dexter's fight anymore. It's a battlefield where everyone risks losing something. The stakes could not be higher. Dexter's freedom is on the line. But more than that, his identity as a father, a mentor, and even as a survivor is being tested. For Harrison, the stakes are even more personal. Does he step into his father's shadow, or does he break away, even if that means betraying the man he still desperately wants to believe in? By the end of this moment, one thing is crystal clear. The finale won't just decide Dexter's fate. It will decide whether the cycle of darkness continues through Harrison or ends with him. The beauty of Dexter Resurrection has always been in its details. And Episode 9's ending is no exception. On the surface, it feels like a shocking twist. But if you look closely, the episode was leaving us breadcrumbs all along. Subtle clues that point to the storm about to break. One of the first hidden clues lies in the dialogue. Throughout the episode, Harrison questions his father with almost surgical precision. Every question about morality, every hesitation in his tone, carries a hidden layer. When he asks Dexter if killing can ever truly be justified, it isn't. Just a son asking his father, it's a mirror reflecting Dexter's inner struggle. That conversation becomes a warning that Harrison may not just be learning from Dexter, maybe judging him. Then there's the camera work. The final scenes are filled with long pauses and close-ups that tell more than words ever could. A shot of Dexter's hand tightening, a flicker in Harrison's expression. The way the lighting grows darker as the episode moves toward its end, none of these are accidents. The darkness swallowing the frame isn't just visual style. It's symbolic of Dexter's world collapsing, of his control slipping further away. Symbolism is also woven into the physical spaces. The room where the ending unfolds feels cold and confined, almost like a cage. This is no coincidence. Dexter has always seen himself as the predator, the hunter who controls his environment. But here, the setting itself flips that narrative. For once, He is the one trapped, exposed, and vulnerable. Even the silence in those moments is a clue. In Dexter, silence is never empty, it's loaded. The absence of music at the most crucial second forces us to feel every heartbeat, every breath, every drop of fear. That silence doesn't just highlight Dexter's panic, it makes us share it. And finally, the betrayal itself is symbolic. Not just about someone turning against Dexter, it represents the one truth. He's always tried to escape, no matter how carefully he plans. No matter how clever he is, the past will always find him. The betrayal is the embodiment of that idea, slamming into him at the exact moment he thought he could control the future. These hidden layers don't just make the ending powerful, they make it haunting. When we go back and rewatch the episode, we realize the clues were always there, staring us in the face. Just didn't see them until it was too late. At its core, Episode 9's ending is not just about survivals. It's about morality, identity, and the cost of choices. What makes it so powerful is that it forces us to stop seeing Dexter only as the hunter or the anti-hero, and instead see him as a man drowning in the weight of his own contradictions. The biggest theme here is fatherhood versus darkness. Dexter wants to be a father to Harrison, someone who protects, teaches, and guides. But his dark passenger refuses to let go. The ending makes it clear that he cannot be both a loving father and a predator in the shadows. The moral dilemma is brutal. If Dexter saves himself, he risks losing Harrison forever. If he chooses Harrison, he may have to sacrifice the very part of himself that has defined him for years. Another theme is truth versus lies. Dexter has always survived by hiding behind masks, says to his friends, lies to his enemies, and most of all, lies to himself. But Episode 9 peels those layers back. Harrison's growing doubts make it clear that the truth can't stay buried forever. The ending forces us to ask, can love survive when it's built on lies, or does it always break apart once the truth is revealed? We also see the theme of legacy and cycles. Harrison is not just Dexter's son, he represents the next generation. The ending leaves us questioning, will Harrison repeat his father's path, carrying the darkness forward, or will he be the one to finally break free from it? The moral dilemma isn't just Dexter's anymore, it's Harrison's too. This tension creates one of the most fascinating conflicts in the story, whether evil is inherited, learned, or chosen. Finally, there's the theme of control versus chaos. For years, Dexter has thrived by controlling every situation, turning chaos into order through his code. But the ending shows us the truth. Control is an illusion. One betrayal, one mistake, and the entire system collapses. It raises the haunting question. Was Dexter ever in control, or was chaos always waiting to take everything away? These themes don't just make the ending shocking, they make it meaningful. They remind us that Dexter's story is not just about blood and survival, but about the choices we make, the truths we hide, and the people we risk losing when our darkness finally catches up to us. The ending of Episode 9 doesn't feel like a conclusion, it feels like the fuse being lit before the final explosion. Everything that happened in those last minutes is less about closure and more about setup. Pushing Dexter and Harrison into a situation where there is no easy escape, the finale is now charged with tension. And the ending of Episode 9 is the spark that guarantees it will burn. For Dexter, the meaning is clear. He is no longer untouchable. For years, he has survived by being one step ahead of everyone around. Him using his code, his planning, and his calm logic to keep himself safe. But the betrayal at the end of Episode 9 proves that his safety net is gone. In the finale, he will have to face the truth that he cannot control every piece on the board anymore. The hunter is now being hunted, and this time, the consequences are bigger than just his own life. For Harrison, the setup is even more dramatic. Episode 9 makes it impossible for him to ignore who his father truly is. The finale will force Harrison to decide whether he stands with Dexter or against him. That choice is not just about loyalty, it's about identity. Does Harrison embrace the darkness he sees in his father, or does he break away and carve a different path? The finale may not just be Dexter's reckoning, it may be Harrison's too. And for the story as a whole, Episode 9's ending raises the stakes to the highest point. Law enforcement is closing in, enemies are watching, and allies can't be trusted. Every thread of Dexter's double life is unraveling at once. This means the finale won't be a slow burn, it will be a collision, where every choice Dexter has ever made crashes down on him. What makes this setup so powerful is that it leaves us with no clear answer. Will the finale give Dexter redemption? Will it end with his downfall? Or will it deliver something even more unexpected? Something that changes the legacy of the character forever? Episode 9 ensures that no option is off the table. And that's why the finale now feels less like an ending and more like a final judgment. The shocking ending of Episode 9 has lit up fan discussions everywhere, and the theories pouring in are, as wild as they are fascinating, some are rooted in long-running patterns of Dexter's story, while others dive into the smallest details of the latest episode. What makes them so compelling is that every theory feels possible, because Episode 9 has left the finale wide open for anything. One of the most popular theories is about Harrison's role in the finale. Many fans believe Harrison could be the one to finally bring Dexter down. The look on his face in those final moments of Episode 9 wasn't just shock, it was realization. Some believe Harrison has already made up his mind, and that the finale could show him exposing Dexter, betraying him, or even confronting him in a way that forces the ultimate reckoning. Others, though, see the opposite possibility: Harrison stepping fully into Dexter's shadow, accepting the darkness and becoming his father's partner rather than his judge. Another theory focuses on the betrayal at the end of Episode 9. Fans are debating whether this betrayal was personal or strategic. Was it about revenge, punishment, or survival? Some argue it could tie back to earlier seasons, suggesting that an old enemy or connection we thought was gone has finally circled back. If that's true, the finale could reveal that Dexter's past has literally caught up with him in a way no one saw coming. Then there's the theory of Dexter's downfall. For years, viewers have debated whether his story could ever end in peace. Episode 9's ending has convinced many fans that the finale will not give Dexter redemption, but rather punishment. They speculate that Dexter might finally face justice in court, but in the most personal and painful way possible, losing Harrison's trust forever. Of course, there are also theories about the code and the dark passenger. Some fans think the finale will show Dexter breaking his own code completely, giving in to chaos. Others believe the opposite, that he will sacrifice himself to protect Harrison, finally using the code not to save his own life, but to end the cycle for good. Beauty of these theories is that none of them feel too far-fetched. Episode 9's ending is written with just enough ambiguity to fuel endless speculation. And that's what makes the finale so exciting. It could confirm some theories, crush others, or surprise us all with something none of us predicted. Episode 9's ending is more than just a twist, it's a turning point. Everything Dexter has fought to hide, everything Harrison has struggled to understand, and every enemy that has waited in the shadows has now collided in one devastating moment. The finale will not simply be about who survives, it will be about what survives. Trust, love, identity, and the fragile bond between father and son are now hanging by a thread. What makes this ending so powerful is that it doesn't give us answers. It forces us to ask the hardest questions. Can Dexter ever escape the shadow of his dark passenger? Can Harrison accept who his father truly is? Or will he be the one to end the cycle once and for all? And perhaps the darkest question of them all, is Dexter's legacy one of protection and sacrifice, or of destruction and betrayal? The final episode now looms like a verdict, and Episode 9's ending has ensured that the judgment will be unforgettable. Whether it ends in redemption, tragedy, or something in between. One thing is certain, Dexter's story can no longer run from the truth. So now the question is for you. What do you think the finale will bring? Will Dexter finally break free from his darkness? Or is this the moment it swallows him for good? Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments below. I'd love to hear how you see this story ending. Episode 9 of Dexter Resurrection has left us standing on the edge of a cliff, staring into the unknown. Every clue, every betrayal, Every hidden truth is now pointing toward one final chapter where the past, the present, and the future collide. And as we wait for the finale, the tension doesn't just live in the story, it lives in us, the audience, as we try to piece together what comes next. But here's the beauty of Dexter's world. It was never just about the kills, or the code, or the blood. It's about the questions it leaves us with. What does it mean to carry darkness and still try to protect the ones you love? Can you ever truly change, or are we all prisoners of who we really are? Episode 9 leaves those questions raw and open. And the finale will either give us closure or tear those wounds open even wider. So now, it's your turn. What do you think episode 9's ending really means? Is this Dexter's final reckoning? Or will he somehow find a way to outsmart fate one last time? Do you believe Harrison will follow his father's path? Or will he become the one to finally break the cycle? Share your theories, your predictions, and even your wildest ideas in the comments. I'll be reading them all. Because this story deserves every perspective.